In this lesson, we're going to look at graph types, meaning we're going to look at 3 different types of graphs. Our objectives: understand a pictograph, understand a bar graph, and understand a dot plot. Our vocabulary: pictograph, graph using pictures to represent data. Bar graph, graph using bars to represent data. Dot graph, graph using dots to represent data. And then lastly, data, collected information. So basically what we do is we collect some type of information, something that we either come up with or is told to us to collect depending on job and such. And then we look at what is the best way to show this information, and we have these 3 types of graphs that we can kind of choose from in what we're looking at right now. So first thing that we need to understand is just data. So here what I have is data that I collected from students in the past. So this is a class of 19. What I asked them was how many people lived in their house. Didn't matter, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents, moms, dads, how many people lived in their house. So the number of people in the house, and then this is the data that I collected in the order that I got it. One of the main things that helps with data is to put it in order. So this has been ordered. All the 3s in a row, all the 4s, 5s, 6s, 7, 8, and there is no 9, there are 2 10s. Sounds like a lot of people in their house. We did ask them. They had grandparents and some aunts and uncles that lived with them, along with other children. So we want to be able to order these numbers. We also want to know the minimum, the maximum, and the range, because these help us with the graphs. So the minimum is just your smallest number. We've got 3. Maximum is your largest number. 10. Your range can be written 2 ways. Minimum to maximum, 3 to 10 is what we're going to. Or you can subtract this to find out the difference between them, which is 7. So we need to go between 7 numbers. So we need to go from 3 to 10, meaning it's going to be best to go by ones or something simple like that. So now I want to show you a pictograph for showing the data that we had. And with a pictograph, you have a number line with your numbers at the bottom, and you typically label what these are talking about. Then you have a picture that's going to represent something. So we have a little stick figure that represents 2 students. So every stick figure you see counts as 2 students. So there were 2, 4, 6, half of a stick figure would be 1. So 7 students had 3 people living in their house. And so then the key and the graph help us figure out the data. It's just another way to represent the data. It gives us a visual. So obviously 3 was the most. Another way to represent the data would be a bar graph. So here I have a bar graph. Bar graph looks like a coordinate plane. We have a vertical and a horizontal axis. Here I have the number of people as my x-axis or my horizontal axis, counting it all the way. Frequency, or how often something happens, typically is our vertical axis. These 2 can be switched. I go from 0 and I skip all the way to 3 instead of having a 1 and a 2 there. So what I need is a break point here. This is one way to do a break point. Another way is 2 diagonal lines like that. Okay, but I like the little Z thing. And then we go up the side 1 through 8, and then I have the bars to distinguish the frequency for each of these. Alright, we have one more graph. So last is a dot plot, which is, again, kind of a combination of the two previous, meaning that each dot is kind of our picture, though one dot equals 1, and focusing on it makes kind of a bar situation where we can visually see what the most is. So we have our number line, we've labeled it, we have the numbers labeled, and then we have how many dots are each. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 students that had 3 people living in their house. Alright, so this has been looking at the graph types. Your job will be able to read and understand these or create them if necessary. Make sure if there's anything that you didn't get or you need to see again, you pause, rewind, and rewatch, and bring any questions to class. Thank you.